Okay, we're going to try it again, folks. There are some technical issues on my end, but in all fairness, it is because people have outright demanded a video feed with the audio. Totally understand that, by the way. So I'm trying to do the right thing here, but if you have followed the channels, let me see here. Yeah. It looks like we're 5 by 5. I'm sorry that we had another chat set up. I'm not sure how to get everybody over here. If y'all could bounce over there and let them know. Um, Again, I wanted to do this with a video feed because people have been demanding that. And again, in all fairness, y'all been demanding it. It's very complicated on this on OBS. It takes some time to learn it, and I'm learning on the fly, son. It is literally me with training wheels on right now. But good morning. Nonetheless, I just streamed out into a black void somewhere for 2 or 3 minutes because I went live on time. It just wasn't where it was supposed to be, I think. Well, it's total chaos over here, right? Welcome to the Chaos Radio Show. I am obviously the voice of chaos, John. Most of the chaos is self-inflicted on my part, if you can't tell. Folks, this was always the plan. You folks out there in internet land, this was always the plan to set up a simulcast to where we're doing audio, and eventually I was going to usher video back in. I wasn't abandoning YouTube, but I want to get on Spotify. I want to do iHeartRadio. I want to go different directions as well. Thank y'all that are just joining. And again, I'm very sorry that I had the wrong lobby set up. Mistakes were made. Happy Tuesday. But this was always the plan. But as I was saying when I was streaming into the Black Void just a minute ago, um, apparently we live in the Snapchat generation, like the TikTok generation, and people want things and they want them right now. So this is how it happens. If we're going to do it right now, and instead of slowly bringing video back into play, we're just going to start dropping hand grenades everywhere, technologically speaking. But it is what it is. POTB. James, good morning. Coffee first, then speak. Axeman, good morning. Jackie, good morning. Aaron, the Watchman. KY Com. Steph L. Um, Ginger, how are you doing? Yeah, the picture and the sound is finally working. I had this stuff set up for like an hour. Triple checked everything, and then when I went live, there was a packed out lobby over here, and then I went live over here, and it was showing nobody in the lobby. And I said, "Uh-oh, John's done it again, son." And I will probably, spoiler alert, I will probably do it again at some point, more than likely very soon. Shady Torch, how are you doing? Forrest Waters, good morning. Sonny, good morning to you. Jen G, good morning. Squirrely Radio, thank y'all for refinding the correct lobby. So, got hit hard by storms. All right, and I'm not sitting here whining and crying about it. I put out I think it was on Instagram. I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I think it was on Instagram, but it could have been on Twitter or a community post here. I don't know. Things have been crazy, but I was like, I'm glad I was prepped for this. Um, but people had it a lot worse. We did not have a tornado in this area. Uh, Although we had like hurricane force winds, it felt like. I mean, stuff was blowing everywhere. Anytime you have huge trees that have been there longer than you have and they start falling down, you know the winds are very strong. So we got hit hard here based on what we typically see. Maria, yes, you found us. I was hiding from everybody. McBean, how are you doing? I was over here hiding with my technical savviness. But we really got hit hard, and it came so fast. I don't even know how to explain it. So we were out at Aldi. Went to Aldi. My wife's been buying a lot of the fruits and things at Aldi because they're cheaper, right? And so we're on our way back home, going up the old gravel road. We're almost, to the Ponderosa. And she gets an alert on her phone because she signed up for these phone alert deals. And, it's saying, hey, I don't know what it said exactly. I'm not signed up for these alerts, but it's telling her to be cautious, keep an eye on the weather, basically. Less than 1 minute later, she gets another alert, and it was one of the red alerts. And normally we go down in the basement or something like that. But hey, we're still in the vehicle at this point. So we pull up, and I'm snatching bags. And I don't even pretend like y'all don't do this, some of you. I'm snatching like 50 bags at one time. You know what I mean? Walking around like Dave Bautista trying to get to the porch. And it goes from, because I don't want to make 2 trips. Y'all know what I'm talking about, hopefully. So it goes from a sprinkling rain to one of the worst downpours I've ever seen in my life, like this. I mean, within a half of a second, just curtains of nonstop rain. The wind is going wild. The storm itself lasted about 2 hours here at the Ponderosa. It hit all over the place. From what I understand in Tennessee, the new Buc-ee's that they had opened up, they lost power. Like that whole area got wrecked. I don't know that it did any damage, but I'm talking about power lines and stuff like that. Um, and then we lost power. I'm going to tell you about the mistakes we made here in a minute. Really, the mistakes are on me. We lost power for a little while. So my wife is on the phone and she's checking to find out, when do you think the power will be back on, this sort of thing, the outage map or whatever. They put out updates. She's savvy with the cell phone. She would not be making mistakes where people were just sitting in random lobbies, whereas I make these mistakes, apparently. And they're saying Tuesday by midnight. And this was a couple of days ago, and she was like, oh, God, I can't go to work without a hot shower and stuff like this because even if the school systems, even if they don't have power here, and even if school is out here, they still hand out food. They do meals and stuff like this. They will, some of them get on buses with meals to deliver to kids because some kids don't have food at home. And then the other teachers report and they're handing them out at certain schools and stuff. So she's going to have to work either way. And she's like, oh my God, I need a hot shower. So power came back on for a little while. And it looked like the running of the bulls in this house. My kids were plugging their cell phones in. My wife's plugging her phone in. I may still have them out somewhere. I don't know. No, I don't have any of the power strips here. But I'm dashing through the house. I'm about to get into the mistakes that were made. Um, Plugging up power strips, trying to get everything plugged in there. Because what I discovered was a lot of most of the stuff that I have is solar, right? Most of it there's solar on this one as well. Most of it's crank. This one has a crank on the back, right there. Not the best, but it is what it is. This one has a crank on it as well. What I discovered was the radios were completely dead. Completely dead. These things were where they were supposed to be. We had everything we needed, but these things were completely dead. Normally, when we have a storm coming, we have some kind of warning. They'll know hours ahead of time or maybe an hour ahead of time. Lewis Taylor, sorry about that. Yes, you found it. Good job, man. Whoops. And normally we go around, we plug all this stuff in, right? This stuff was completely dead. And let me tell you how bad this might look fancy and it does the trick. But let me tell you how bad these things are, how much they suck when they are completely dead. And your only option, it's blinking now. The only option is to crank it because we're getting home. It's just getting dark. Solar is not an option at this point. And, so not only that, but I'm digging around trying to find some of the things that we needed. And I'm having to do this by flashlight. I'm like, I know we have these. Where are these things at? I was looking for the the following morning, the solar powered bricks and notebooks and stuff. And I couldn't remember what I did with them. So Everything was here. A little bit of it was misplaced. None of it was charged all of the way up. One of the power bricks that we have was halfway charged. So we were able to do that because we lost power shortly thereafter again. And the second time around, the water went with it. So I appreciate that, Jim Shady, saying shoot a thumbs up. I don't even ask anymore, but I appreciate the thought. So there are always lessons to be learned. That's what I was sitting here thinking. I was like, thank God we have all the stuff we need. We got plenty of easy to open and stuff like this. Um, we have the big metal ammo cans and stuff. Matter of fact, this is a smaller one, but since it's sitting right here at my feet, it's marked medical. I mean, it's skanky looking. We've had these things for a while. This is a smaller one. Then we have a couple of larger ones that are marked medical, and then we have some that are marked power. And so we grab these things when the power goes out, and candles, matches, all of this stuff, and their flashlights, batteries. But again, there were certain things that I guess I should have had in there that I didn't. I just recklessly set them down, and I hadn't charged any of this stuff since, I guess, winter, when we were expecting the last snow storm to come through. So should have done it, but honestly, life gets in the way and didn't do it. There was no significant damage here, but we got power back sometime last night. We went to bed with no power. Next thing I know, I'm waking up this morning. My wife's telling me to get up. Power's on. She getting out of the shower. I'm like, okay, son, I guess we're streaming this morning. So, um, during all of this, after the storm passed, because of course you got to go out and you got to see the damage, right? So we hop in the vehicle and we go. There are only two things in town that are open that I'm aware of. Walmart was even shut down. I take that back. There were three things. There was a tobacco shop that was taking cash only. They had no lights, but they had a candle in there burning, and they were doing it, writing it down and stuff. Because I got cigars somewhere, Philly blunts, just so y'all know. Dollar Tree and Bojangles. These two places were open, and again, it didn't just hit Surrey County. It hit all the way up and all the way down. So I'm thinking that the other towns were in similar situations. Bojangles looked apocalyptic. Apocalyptic, folks. Bojangles looked like it was the last restaurant on the planet. There must have been 100+ cars at this place. And I'm like, please pray for the employees here because they fixing to walk out on this place. And then the Dollar Tree, which we went to. I'll get into that in a second, but people were stopping at gas stations, and you could just see we were gassed up. We were prepped. We always try and keep it gassed up, right? Philly blunts, that's right, Lord Eagle, the strawberry ones. That's what I picked up during all this. So people were buying Bo biscuits, dynamite, and my my wife went in there and she got the kids each a biscuit. Had to wait forever, and she said people were ordering $100+ worth of food. Now this was yesterday morning, so it could have had something to do with Memorial Day, and again, Walmart wasn't open, the KFC and stuff wasn't open. Like none of these places were open. So anybody, I guess, that was expecting to get that kind of stuff for cookouts or get-togethers, family, group meetings and stuff, it wasn't happening unless it was coming from Bojangles. But it was madness. But you could see the denial on people's faces at gas stations. They would pull in and they were just looking around. Like, what do you do in that situation? You put no gas station in town is open. Probably nothing in Winston-Salem. We didn't drive up to Winston or anything like that. Southwest Virginia got hammered up where K-Man's at. I don't think anything was open up that way. What do you do? If you need fuel and you waited a little too long, what do you do at that point? You know what I mean? Are you going up and beating on the glass and shaking the door? Please, somebody be in here to give me fuel. It's too late at that point. But we went into the Dollar Tree. Of course, this place was packed out like Walmart-sized traffic in our Dollar Tree, and we're buying bags of ice. This is all we're getting at the Dollar Tree at this point because my wife, Miss Nation, she's like, we cannot afford to lose the meat that I have in the freezer. Can't do it. So we're in there, bags of ice, $2 a pop. So we're dropping like $20 getting bagged ice. We come back and we ice over all the coolers. We're moving the meat. The fridge stuff, we just kept it in there, kept it shut. But the meats went into coolers, so we didn't lose that stuff. And I don't know. These are the types of events that I prep for. Not necessarily airplanes moving around where they shouldn't be. Not saying that stuff's not important, but there's a lot of distraction out there too. And this is the kind of stuff that got me into prepping. This is the most immediate kind of stuff to me. And this is the kind of stuff that I continue to prepare for. Again, not saying that we're not going to have a civil war at some point, not saying nukes won't drop or something like this, but I don't obsess myself with that, right? I try to stay focused on stuff that I know is going to happen. There's going to be another power outage at some point. Guarantee it. And this time around, hopefully, there's a little bit of warning so I can charge my stuff ahead of time. Before we move on, was anybody else affected by the storms in any way? Bound to be, right? Bound to be. Can up that meat so you won't have to worry about the freezers as much. While I understand that, we hadn't had this stuff long. You know what I mean? We caught this stuff at Food City on sale like a week prior or something. And I mean, big time sale. My wife's packing it out. Um, we've seen steaks, 2 pack of steaks at Food City for $60. Not even kidding about that. Um, so when you catch steaks and you see them for $6 and they got the little yellow sticker and they're going to run out in like, 4 days or something, Miss Nation will get it, throws it into a deep freezer to be used later on. So it is what it is. Plus, she's working full time right now, so she doesn't have enough time to be canning and stuff. I mean, I guess she can make time, but again, while we prep, we don't obsess with it. We're not like full blown homesteaders. We got 2 kiddos to chase around and stuff like that. Um, Tree fell by my building. We had trees fall down, Sonny, but nothing, took anything out that I'm aware of other than power lines. A week ago, Blackbird says, just missed me by half a mile. I mean, it came so fast. I don't know if they were just not expecting it here or what. Maybe they thought it was going to go around, but it did not go around. It did not. So, speaking of chaos, here's some chaos talk for you. I mean, it's the Chaos Radio Show, for crying out loud. Massive nationwide layoffs are coming. This is not speculation. This is not, we might see massive nationwide layoffs. This is 1,000% going to happen. All right. The numbers can be disputed. The numbers are all over the place. Me personally, I think it's going to be in the tens of thousands. Some of the mainstream media are saying hundreds of thousands of layoffs are coming. But I'm close enough to this, this particular area of the economy that I know that they are coming. Okay. So the public education system, and it sounds very strange. Why would they lay off? They're already shorthanded. That was my initial thought, because here in North Carolina, the last time I saw, we were 10,000 teachers, not staff, 10,000 teachers short statewide. And we're going to get into the why, Lola, here in just a second. So my initial thought was, why would you be laying off people if you're already short in this area, and you know that you're already short in this area? CNN predicted this was the highest number I saw. And again, I'm going to dispute this number because I think it's a little too high. But I mean, it could be accurate. Who knows? Again, it's CNN, so take it with 10 grains of salt and a shot of penicillin, right? They're predicting up to 380,000 full-time positions in the public education system are going to be slashed this summer. I can tell you right off the bat, summer school here is capped out. So what do I mean by that? Normally, they are begging teachers, begging. Like my wife will get 15 emails the last 9 weeks of school. Hey, are you working summer school? Hey, we need you to work summer school. Hey, we're paying X amount for summer school. It's pretty much free money if you choose to do it. It's a few thousand. I think it's $3,000 or $4,000 before taxes. Let's be honest, for several weeks of summer school. This is the first year that I can ever remember it being capped out. As in, teachers are trying to sign up for summer school. My wife didn't. She did it for a few years and she didn't really care for it. It eats up part of the summer. But teachers are trying to apply for it, and the school system is saying, no, we're completely full. We don't have any open positions. So this is eye-opening to me, to be honest with you. Now, they're saying that there are three things that are causing this. And again, this is nationwide. So number one, there's $190 billion with a B dollars in pandemic relief funding that is actually running out this week. And to be fair, okay, prior to the pandemic, schools had bloated budgets anyway. They didn't have enough funding anyway. You know, a lot of them are reckless with money and whatever the case may be. But they've been getting 190 billion on top of their normal budgets, and that expires this week. Some school systems are asking for more from the Biden administration, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I understand your concern. However, the pandemic's been over for a while now, son. Occasionally, I will still go into a store and I will still see employees wearing a N95. They're gloved up to the elbows, and I'm sorry, but they have the crazy COVID eyes. You know, these. People have underlying conditions. I get it, but you can always tell by the eyes. The eyes give it away. These people are broken mentally. All right, pandemic's over. Special announcement. You heard it here this morning. Pandemic's over. The White House has announced this already. The CDC's announced it already. They're not going to continue to shovel out $190 billion. So that was the number one reason they gave. Number two, I can testify to. Okay, insurance premiums are skyrocketing. So here's how this works. It's like a lot of other employers out there. So let's say you work in a factory, and the factory you work in, they offer, insurance. So you're going to have to pay for that in most cases. But what your employer does a lot of times is they'll go in and they'll pay half of it, or maybe more than half, maybe less than half, whatever arrangement they have worked out. The school system here pays half. So they're paying half. I got a crazy shadow going on. There we go. So the school system pays half, and then the employee pays half. You know, they almost have to do this because otherwise teachers would be leaving in droves. Like they're already 10,000 short. But they're saying because of the skyrocketing cost of insurance, they can no longer pay half. You know, specifically here, but it may be different elsewhere. They cannot kick in and pay half of it anymore. School systems no longer have the money to do that. So they're paying half for the employees they can retain. The rest they're going to have to lay off. And finally, public school enrollment is down. This doesn't sound like a big deal. All right. This doesn't sound like a big deal. It's a small number. 3%. School enrollment is down 3% since the pandemic first started. But there are a couple of things that we need to factor in here, okay? Number one, school enrollment was already declining before the pandemic, okay? So it's a trend doing this. It's not like it's anything new. Number two, 3% is a lot of kids, nationally speaking, okay? people have been turned on to homeschooling. And I think the pandemic and this distance-based learning and stuff had something to do with it. Maybe parents looked at that and they said, this is not as hard as I thought. I'll admit the kids they don't learn that much. But to be fair, they don't learn that much anyway in a lot of these school systems. I mean, right? They just don't. So they're looking at this. And another thing is people have discovered when it comes to homeschooling, there are all kinds of options. There are all kinds of options available now. A lot of them are affordable, and they're just choosing to do it. Some parents are saying it's safer this way. My kid's not going to get bullied. I don't have to worry about violence in schools. I don't have to worry about maybe the indoctrination that's taking place. And it's a huge trend, and it's a huge problem for public school systems. But getting back into the teachers for a second, it's also a huge issue for the economy. Because these teachers are people with specific degrees, okay? They have degrees in education. Excuse me. They have degrees in education. So if they're laid off and they have a degree with education and all school systems are laying off rather than hiring, what options do they have? They're probably sitting on college student loan debt. A lot of us are. I mean, some people apparently get it magically forgiven by the potato thief in chief. Most of us don't. Most of us are still paying on student loans. So how do you pay those back? And what do you do? Like, how do you rebrand yourself as an employee? Do you go back to college? Do you go back to college for a different degree and take on another $40,000 or $50,000 or more in debt? Do you go to a technical school, pay a whole lot less, but get into a job trade that you don't really care about? What do these people do? They go and work fast food? This is an issue because these teachers that are going to be laid off. Now, again, I'm not saying they're all great teachers or even great human beings. I don't know them all, son, but I'm saying they're people. At the end of the day, these are people, and they have mortgages. Many of them have mortgages. They have families. They have car payments, insurance. We were just talking about insurance. These are all people that are either going to be extremely lucky and land a similar paying job, or they're going to have to take a substantial pay cut, or they're going to have to incur a bunch of brand new debt that they already can't afford, or they're going onto our welfare system. Let's just call it for what it is, right? And this takes away from money that our government already doesn't have because it's giving them out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that crosses the border. And let's not forget these people, these teachers, they're paying taxes. So the moment they're laid off, they are not paying taxes anymore. If CNN's correct, and again, I still think that's a high number, but if 380,000 people, that would be 380,000 taxpayers that are eliminated from the workforce this summer. Even if they go out and they get a job at, Bojangles, like we were just talking about, they're going to be making substantially less than they're making right now, which means they're paying less in taxes, or they're going to qualify for federal assistance, right? So this is not the only industry that is dealing with issues for sure, but I wanted to point this out this morning because it's an industry that's going to affect us nationwide. Now that's going to look different for different people. If you live in a small town, your school system may only have to lay off 5 people realistically, but if you live in an urban area, you might see a couple of thousand people getting ready to lose jobs. And in the current economy, which we're getting ready to get into now, losing jobs is a bad thing, right? We need more people working, not less. However, diving into this last topic here, this stems from, I can't take credit for this, okay? This stems from a comment that came in on the Radioactive podcast. If y'all tuned in for that, thank you, by the way. But this comment specifically has been on my mind for the last several days. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the comment verbatim, but they were basically saying they believe Trump is going to be the next president, and they think that Biden, his administration, the Federal Reserve, the system in general is setting up for a collapse so they can dump this in Donald Trump's lap. You know what I mean? Like they're going down an unsustainable path on purpose so they can watch it blow up in his face. And I remember I made the comment something like, people have a short-term memory, meaning Americans are going, even though this is Joe Biden's fault, I'm going to go ahead and say it, it's Joe Biden's fault. This is his economy. It's totally wrecked right now. But people have a short memory, meaning Trump gets in office 3 months, 4 months, 6 months down the road. If the economy is still wrecked, he's going to bear the brunt of the blame. People are going to look at him, maybe not your extreme MAGA, right? But everybody else, your average Joe, your average Jane out here in the society here, they're going to say, well, Trump didn't do anything to help. Things have just gotten worse. And I've not been able to shake this comment. Because I take a look at the system right now and the way the system is working or failing to work. Tony, how are you doing? Good morning. Oki-Khan, good morning. We're not calling a recession. Folks, we are in a deep, deep recession. I just saw in the prepping community, I don't remember who it was. I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I got enough shade over here blocking me out here, son. But I saw a video title that said, a recession is coming, how to prepare. And I'm like, the recession is already here. It's been here. We need to start telling the truth, but nobody is really telling the truth. We are in a deep recession right now. Okay, otherwise, you would not see all of these industries laying off. You would not see places filing bankruptcy. Google is laying off, one of the biggest companies in the world. Had somebody reach out to me on Patreon, and they had a theory about Google and the ads and stuff that Google's running. Look, Google's like every other company. They're trying to make money. They make money off of ad revenue, so they're showing more and more ads just to try and break even, I think, and they're paying creators less. For anybody that didn't know, the RPM has dropped substantially. A lot of people say, well, I'm kind of getting burnt out and fed up with YouTube. I might go to another platform. It's because they're getting paid less. Just throwing it out there. And they know it's true. Mainstream media is spinning the truth about our economy. Nothing really new, but at the same time, they'll take bad news and they'll spin it. And that you can tell they're cheerleading for Joe Biden, right? They're cheerleading for Joe Biden. They're spinning it around. Well, this might seem bad. It might seem bad that 300,000 teachers just lost their jobs and a third of them are going to be homeless. But look at the bright side. This is going to bring a brand new crop of workforce into fast food. So he's actually creating jobs. You know what I mean? They're cheerleading and they're spinning for the man and his again, he thinks he's at a San Diego Padres game or something. So his administration. They're lying to us blatantly about inflation. And I don't care what anybody says. When it comes to inflation, there's some bull caca going on. Some boo-boo-ness out there. Well, the inflation's only 3%. I would like to be in a grocery store. I don't know, I might catch charges. Be in a grocery store and actually hear somebody say that out loud. They wouldn't make it out of that store, son, without the EMTs showing up. Somebody would jump them. Yeah, I think the foods went up. The inflation's 3%. Somebody's going to start swinging on it because that's how real inflation is right now. And you always hear this, well, that's factoring in everything. That's yarn, that's diapers, that's Viagra. Like, no, bro, I'm talking about stuff that I need. Gas, I'm talking about utility bills, I'm talking about food, I'm talking about medicine. insurance. This stuff is not 3%. They need to stop with the lies on this, or at the very least, they need to tell both sides of the story. Well, yeah, the national, inflation is 3%, but then they need to, underneath food inflation, they need to start breaking it down, because people can't be this stupid to think that they're only paying 3% more in a grocery store right now. I mean, they just can't be that dumb, right? I guess there's some people out there that are. The jobs reports, which again, to be fair, get spun by every single administration. Every president spins a jobs report. But I just think it's a bad time to be doing it. It's a really scummy time to be spinning a jobs report, because you're just spitting in people's face at some point. When you get on there and you say, yeah, we've created 20,000 new jobs or whatever, people are looking around. They're like, who are you kidding here? What jobs? Is everybody joining the circus? What is going on here? Because every place that I see, every place in my community is one of two things. They're either not hiring and they're barely hanging on, getting ready to go out of business. Restaurants are especially bad right now. Or they have a now hiring sign up in the window. But then you get on social media, and social media, they're chatting. People are chatting. They're like, I've applied 20 times. Nobody ever calls back. They're just pretending to be hiring at some point. Who's hiring? I mean, fast food, maybe. I don't know. They're eliminating jobs, I think. But if Donald Trump becomes president of the United States, you're going to hear it here first. If he becomes president of the United States, the celebration will be very short-lived. Sorry. It's going to be very short-lived. I think if he wins on election night, or they can't thieve it from him on election night, or however you want to slice it, however you want to look at it, right? He gets back in office. That election night, people are going to be like all over social media. They're going to be on Twitter/X, Facebook. I told you so in all caps and stuff. Trump's back, baby. American flags, the eagle going to be posted everywhere. Lee Greenwood. And then it's going to be very short-lived, because then I believe the reality is going to set in for a lot of people. So what? Economically speaking, now I think he's going to do a lot of other things. I think he is going to pull up his sleeves and try to do some sort of deportation. We'll see. I think he is going to drop the hammer on protests where people get illegal and stuff like this. Because again, J6 president's been set, right? Economically speaking, selection night, that's fair enough, Salty Dog. I can ride with you on that one. But I think people are going to be sitting around. They're going to be thinking, now what? Gas is still going to cost what it costs. Probably going to cost more because the damage has been done. Groceries aren't going to be going down anytime soon. Like, you're not going to see any immediate effects month to month with your bills, or week to week, whatever it is, because we're still going to see a total economic collapse. I just feel like they're cheerleading and they're inflating the economy and they're pumping things up, and the Fed is in the back pocket of the Biden administration, and they're just pumping it up long enough to hand this dirty diaper off to Donald Trump. And then we're going to see one of the worst crashes in this country's history, economically speaking. Don't know if it'll be as bad as the Great Depression. Me personally, I think it'll be worse. And the reason that I think people will disagree with that, and that's okay. But the reason I think that it will be worse is we have so many people hooked to the tit of the government right now. So many people on social welfare programs, and that just was not the case during the original Great Depression. Plus, the population in this country is soaring. The collapse is coming. Okay. You can be one of these people and you can say it's not over as a country. I respect that. I pray that it's not. You can be one of these people that said, this country's finished. It's done and dusted. It's just a matter of time. I can respect that. But I don't think anybody with a set of eyeballs and 3 brain cells, rub them together, you might get 4 brain cells, son. A bunch of paint huffers out there, you beaverines. Anybody with 3 or 4 brain cells and a pair of eyes and a pair of ears understands the economy is toast. Maybe something, maybe we recover like after the Great Depression and we become stronger as a nation, but it's still going to require the crash. The crash at this point is inevitable. Plus, who knows what else we're going to be facing if Trump is back in office? Another pandemic, perhaps. Social unrest, I would say, is a very, very, very good bet that we're going to see a lot of social unrest. But again, we have no idea what other cards these people are going to play. I know it sounds crazy. We could see aliens the week after. I know that's going to be not a very popular comment, right? Probably be made fun of for that. But seriously, at some point they're going to introduce the concept. They've slowly been introducing it, chipping away at it, right? First week of Donald Trump's presidency, we could see motherships coming down or something. I mean, it is what it is, but we're going to see an economic crash. I don't care if we see aliens. The economy's still toast. I don't care if we got a zombie apocalypse. The economy is still toast. There's no getting around it. You read our mainstream media, they fluff it up. Yeah, they are our friends, LL. They cheerlead for the economy. You go to any other country's mainstream media, you go to BBC, you go to Sky, you go to Al Jazeera, you go to RT, anywhere, and they're talking about how the wheels are coming off of our economy. They're telling the truth. We're not being told the truth. And I think a lot of people are not preparing or are prepared for the economic fallout that we're about to see. People refusing to work. We've talked about this in the past. People refusing to listen to logic. All of this hate, all of this division, all of this bitterness in our country. I hate to use the expression, but I'm going to use the expression. It's the new normal here in the United States. Trump wins or is selected or whatever, it doesn't matter. The hate is not going away. The division is not going away. The screaming matches back and forth on social media where people refuse to listen, that's not going away. The economic damage that has already been done, that's not going away. None of this stuff is going away. It all has to be dealt with. We're out of road. We cannot kick the can any further. And it just feels like they're trying to drag it out and say, here you go, President Trump. This is your legacy. Second pandemic, total social chaos, and a Great Depression. What can he possibly do to help the American people if he has that stacked against him? I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all